Hello guys, welcome to another session. In this session, we are going to look into query selector. So let's start our discussion. So in the earlier session, we have looked into document object model, and document object model is nothing but a tree-like a structure where all the element of the HTML document exist within an hierarchy. As we have already discussed previously how all these elements are placed together within an hierarchy. So one rule of thumb I wanted to let you know that whenever you are adding or removing any content on the HTML document, then you have to first decide that which element you want to target to add or remove the content within the element, and then you need to reach to that particular element within the DOM, and the process of reaching to the DOM and selecting the element is called query selection. So in this session we are going to focus on this step, and then later in another session we will look into how to add and remove content within the selected element. But first we will learn that how to select the element within the DOM with the help of query selector. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code to see the setup for this example. So we are into the Visual Studio Code, and the kind of setup we are having for index.html, it will look something like this, where we are having one header element, h1 element, along with three paragraph element, and along with that we are having a one main div element along with some internal div with image element, and with one paragraph there is a class associated with it that is called apply style, and along with that there is in a div you can find that there is a class associated with the name called social icon. And if you look into the browser, it will look something like this. So this is the output you will get with the written HTML5 code. So our first exercise would be, we want to grab the reference of this first p tag with the help of JavaScript. So let's look into the example how we can get the reference of the first p tag. So let's go to the JS file, and here what we need to do, we need to define a variable called const, and then we will tell that first paragraph equal to, and then we need to specify document dot query selector. And the syntax which we need to remember over here is that within this query selector it expects the parameter, so we need to specify the element or the reference of the element which we want to grab. So for example, if we want to grab the p tag, we need to specify p over here. Now save it. So what happened with this line of code? What it will do, it will go to the HTML document and it will grab the first element which is of p type, and it will grab that reference, and it will ignore other p tag. It will just grab the first reference of the p tag. So to prove you this point, what I will do, I will console log this variable. So how we can do that? We need to tell that console.log so that we can verify that what actually fpara contains. Now let's jump into the browser and console, and we will look into the output. So we are into the browser, we need to press F12. So see here, you will find that the output which is being returned by the variable fpara is the reference of first p element. That is step by step. So now we get the reference of this p tag, the first p tag. Now we can do any of the activity by adding content to this particular p tag and removing it. So we can do any of the thing that we will see in upcoming session. Now let's proceed further. So this is quite straightforward, but for example, if we want to select this p tag or the second p tag, how we can do this? So for example, so this time what we will do, we will grab the reference of this particular p tag which is having a class apply style. So how we can do that? Let's look into that. So what we need to do, we need to specify the CSS selector over here, and we need to tell that dot apply style, the name of the class. So verify that we are having this apply style. Now let's look into the browser to see the output which element is being selected. Now this time you will find that it has selected the p tag which is having the apply style. Now let's proceed further. One thing you should always remember that query selector accepts the CSS selector. If you want to learn about CSS and the CSS selector, then you can refer my course Learn CSS 3 from scratch step by step, where I have covered CSS selectors in more detail. Now suppose if we are having multiple elements with the same class name, how we can select one individual element with the same class name. So let's look into this example. So over here you will find that there is multiple div and it contains an image, and each image is having the same class name. So how we can make sure that the particular element is being selected? So what you have to do, you need to go to the browser, and here if you want to select the YouTube icon, then you need to click on inspect, and once it open this one, then you need to right click on this and it will open this window, and here you need to click on copy, and then you will find copy selector. Once you click on the copy selector, now go to the Visual Studio Code and you should paste it over here, and then you will find that it has a unique name. So for this case, it has grabbed the reference of that particular div. So now let's save it and let's look into the output in console. So let's click console over here, and then you will find that it has selected that particular image, that is youtube.png, which we have selected through the query select. And this is really very handy whenever we want to grab the reference of nested element within DOM. Now the same way, if we want to grab the reference of the learning p tag, that is a second p tag, so you need to select this one, inspect, and then it will open this one, and here you need to click over here and copy selector. Now let's go to the Visual Studio Code and paste it over here, and here you need to paste it. So it has selected that particular p tag. So let's verify it into the console. So here you need to click on console, then you will find that you need to refresh it. We forgot to save it, so let's save it over here. Now go to the browser, so clear this one, reload it, then you will find that it has selected that particular element. Now let's proceed further. So far whatever we have discussed, that is selection of the single element. But now I want to select multiple element. For example, I want to select all the p element in this HTML document. So how we can do that? So let's look into that. So for selecting multiple element, there is another selector that is called query selector all, and it will grab all the element of that particular type. For example, in this case, I am going to grab all the p tag reference. So let's look into the output. So you will see it over here that it has given us the node list, and it contains 3 p tags with p0, p1 and the p2. And over here you will see that it has also returned the third element that is having this apply style class. One thing I would like to tell it over here, that this node list is look like an array, but it is not an array. So we can't use the array method on this node list. So we can't use all the array methods on the node list, but there are certain methods we definitely use with the node list. So what we can do with this node list, let's look into that. We can select the element of the node list with the square bracket notation. Suppose that if I want to select the second element, then I need to tell that 1 over here. Save it as it is starting with the 0 index. So that's the reason the second element is represented with 1. So let's look into the output, and you will see over here it has returned the second paragraph element. Now let's provide some other number. Now this time provide value 2 for the third element. Save it. Let's look into the output, and you will find that it has returned the third element. Just clear it, reload it, and see here it has returned the third element, which is having the apply style class. So now let's proceed further. Other method we can use with the node list is the for each method. For this time what we will do, fpara, and over here what we will do, we will tell that dot for each, and within that we can create a callback function, and then we will specify over here the paragraph, and here we need to specify the body of the function, and here we can console.log and specify the paragraph. Save it, and let's look into the output, and you will see it over here. It has returned all the elements which is of type paragraph element. We are getting this 2 times. Why is it so? Because we are printing this as well. So just comment it out, save it. Let's jump into the browser to see the output. So clear it, reload it, then you will find that it has printed only the single time, and it has iterated the node list. So node list is a group of elements. Same way what we can do, we can select this social icon, and this time we will apply it over here, and we will tell that dot social icon. Save it, and we will tell that element, better name is element would be good, ele, and over here ele. Save it. Let's look into the output, and this time it has given all the div element which is having a social icon. Refresh it. So this time you will see over here, so it has returned all the element with the social icon. And we are iterating with the for each method of node list. So now let's proceed further. So now we have seen that query selector and the query selector all is used to grab the reference of the element within the document object model. So this is what I wanted to demonstrate you in this session. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.